Hey y'all, what's good? My name's Ayat Kamal, and I'm your host for Sound to Play. As usual, we're with that episode 3 sound segment. So we got stuff to talk about. And first off, we're gonna start it kind of how we did last time. We're gonna talk about Kanye West. But this time it's not really a news thing, it's more of a album review thing. So we're gonna really get that started, and I'm just gonna tell you how I felt about Vultures, because I'm sure you guys saw this coming. Like, it's a pretty big thing, and it's number 1 on Apple Music right now. And the fun fact about it being number 1 on Apple Music is Apple Music's not even promoting the album. The industry has been trying to constantly blackball Kanye West, probably because of some anti-Semitic comments he made, but he still somehow has surpassed the masses, let's say, and he's number 1 on Apple Music with Ty Dolla Sign. So that's something to keep in mind. I believe the album keeps coming on and off Apple Music. I don't use Apple Music, but that's what I've been hearing. So it's kind of crazy that it's number 1 and also not getting any promo, and it's still number 1. But all that being said, I don't think it was that hot of an album. I think the people who are listening to it are really bots, or some people who have like Kanye's meat down their throat. And I don't even want to say that, like, I'm not trying to say that to be a hater. I'm just saying I don't think the album was as influential, as timeless as these bots are making it seem. I know a lot of other people, maybe hardcore Kanye West fans that aren't cocksuckers, they're definitely like, yo, this it's not that good. And it's not because it might not be a good album. It's not a good Kanye album. You need to understand that that's what we're talking about. I've heard a lot of people like bag on the mix, say it's not that good. I literally seen a comment like about, like, it was on a post about the mix, and someone commented like, if a professional like Kanye West is making a mix like this, what's stopping me as like an amateur artist or like a home studio artist to be putting out songs with mixes like this? And that raises a fair type of like perspective and fair type of question, like as a home studio artist myself. But honestly, I don't think that's a good thing that you're thinking that, because you'd want to get better making mixes. And I'm telling you, I'm someone who struggles with getting perfect mixes. Sometimes I get the most perfect, juiciest mix that I've ever made in my life. Other times, even after doing something like that, I make an atrocious mix, or I have like 90% of the mix good, the rest of it's horrible. I got like only 10% good, the 90% is horrible. Whatever the case may be, lot of artists, especially ones who do everything themselves, they know it's so troublesome trying to get a perfect mix. And Kanye West has the resources, he has the engineers, he has the location, he has everything that he needs basically to be having a good mix. And everyone knows, based on seeing Kanye West, like based on seeing him, they know he's a perfectionist. We know he's a perfectionist, and it took him so many like attempts to make Donda, and then this album also. And with all that, if he's releasing something where the mix is like bad, that's not like impressive. I feel like a lot of artists, because they're so known for making high quality music, like they let the ball drop because they're like, oh, my fans will consume this, they'll eat it up. Consumers consume. That's just the fact of the matter. Even if someone is a Kanye West fan and they don't like the album, they'll still listen because they don't like, they can't really make an opinion maybe off of one, two songs. They're like, okay, maybe this one song's bad. Let's listen to the next one. Oh, this sounds bad too. Let's listen to the next one. Like, keep going like that. And people who actually like the album, they'll be running it up like crazy. So regardless, they'll be getting those streams. I feel like Kanye West and Drake, to be honest, they kind of like lost sight of that, like on authenticity. Like, I get it if they're doing experimentation, but I feel like they're such pioneers in the music industry. I'm not gonna say rap. I'm not gonna call Drake a rapper, and I'm not gonna like limit Kanye West to being a rapper also. I feel like they've done so much experimentation that they kind of have like they already did everything that they could. They already experimented enough. There's nothing really like that they can do more that would like shock people. They've done a lot of stuff. They have either a good team or they got good minds or both. And we know what they're capable of. We know in our heads what their peak is, and they're just capitalizing off what their peak was. But I don't think they're putting quality effort and making quality music anymore. And that's how I personally feel. Drake, when he was in his R&B era, is so much more superior than whatever he's doing now. I can't lie. I'm not saying if someone puts on some Drake where he's like spitting bars, he's vibing like crazy, that I won't like be down for that. I will. Like he still makes good music from time to time, but his consistency and the genre I liked of him, it's done up, bro. Some people might like his old school rap stuff, but he's changed his style so many times that a lot of people might be like, nah, this isn't the Drake I grew up with. Like I said, consumers will consume. Same thing with Kanye West. He's made 808s and Heartbreaks. He's made Late Registration. He's made Graduation. He's made some bangers, bangers on bangers. In The Life of Pablo, My Beautiful Dark and Twisted Fantasy, all that stuff. But even still, if he can put out something with a bad mix, Kanye West, what are you doing, bro? You're just like exploiting your fans at that point. And I'm not gonna say I don't think Vultures was mixed so bad because I don't know if people really notice this so much. Like I was with like a old friend of mine, like when Donna came out, and we both were like, "Yo, this mix, it's not it." Like, and I was a lot worse at mixing back then, but still, we were like, yeah, that's not it. Like, I'd had some good mixes back then, but most of my mixes at the era I was in, they were really distorted and really crazy. I kind of lean into that. Like XXX, when he was alive, he used to lean into distorted mixes because his mic was bad, but they liked his music for the rawness, not for the high quality mixes. And I'm sure the better he got, the more connections he had, it would just get better. And at my own level of where I'm at, like now I can mix like more mainstream, let's say. But even then, with those distorted songs, whatever the vocals are distorted or the beats distorted, whatever the case may be, I still know that the rawness is there and I still manage to get people to listen to my music just for its rawness. And obviously as a actual artist, you notice so much more about the mix. And it wasn't apparent to me the mix was super bad when hearing Vultures, and I heard it after hearing other people like bag on it. But when I heard Donda and I didn't really read about what people said about Donda too, I didn't have like a pre-formed like conception of what the album might be like mix wise. But it was not good. I think it was a lot worse mix wise than Vultures. And after even hearing those comments, I don't think it was as bad as people are making it seem. Donda was a lot worse when it came off, like when it came out. And that just goes to show. I feel like Kanye West put in so many drafts of those songs for Donda, for example, and I'm sure he did the same for this Vultures Part One supposedly, but it didn't come across that way. He doesn't seem like pure with his intention of making music. Maybe it's there, but it's not coming across, and that's a very big thing that you need to come across. I feel like with Drake too. Like I feel like these guys are really like trying to just feed into the consumers. I'm telling you this over and over again. And I'm not saying like as a musician you shouldn't feed into that, but you shouldn't make your art because of that. Like, yeah, sure, still go after the bag and promote your music like crazy. Promote your art like crazy, whoever you are. But like don't be making music just because oh I know they'll eat it up and it might not even be that good. Like we know you are capable like we know you're capable of a lot better things than this. And this is what you're giving us? Like I like at times I can't even like I love music, old music, new music, whatever, different genres, but I can't be someone who like co-signs this stuff and that doesn't matter to them at the end of the day. They got so many fans. I know it doesn't matter. This is just my opinion and maybe other people have the same opinion as me, but I'm just saying like you can't just expect some people to just think this is the same as what you used to make or how you were conducting yourself. We are artists. We are trying to do better and better every day. How are you guys so established and you made a name for yourself and you're doing worse and worse? Like, I don't think it's because their age is declining. I think they're like consciously choosing to do stuff like this. I'm just hurt and as like a listener, obviously, but I'm hurt as a musician because if I got so much better at production and mixing, for example, I wouldn't let that all go to waste. Like I couldn't. I just died, but I couldn't let that all go to waste. So, I mean, that's why it hurts just looking at it from my perspective. But I don't think there was anything in that album that stood out like crazy. Like none of those songs like captured they never captured me really. Do It is the only song that captured me. And Fuck Some also captured some, but I don't like Playboy Cardi. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I like him on some certain features. He sounds I maybe even good. I'll lean towards that. But I really very rarely listen to like mindless music. And I make a in between of like maybe R&B, trap, and then some lyrical stuff. But my R&B and my lyrical stuff, I mean my R&B and my trap is like it has the lyrics there. You just gotta find it. They're all in every song that I make. So you might listen to my music and think, oh, he's just vibing. I am vibing, but I'm spitting bars. I feel like Playboy makes a lot more mindless music that I wouldn't co-sign it personally. Fine, you can listen to it, sure, but I won't really rate you if you listen to Playboy Cardi like religiously. But to each their own. Music's subjective, of course. This is just my opinion, like I said. But that song, it wasn't anything special to me. And Ty Dolla Sign, I'd say he delivered on a lot of songs, but Kanye West didn't follow it up good enough that the song was like crazy to me. And I still don't think Ty Dolla Sign did anything like crazy, crazy. But Do It, I will say like Kanye West was bearable, and I like Ty Dolla Sign's part a lot. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna save this. Ty Dolla Sign's part's good enough that he can carry it enough, and Kanye West didn't like make me wanna like gag because he didn't do that good with that song where he's like big booty, but the fall of the sky. Like, no, don't do that. Doja Cat's making fun of him. Doja Cat, she's a meme rapper. She's making fun of him. I maybe she's having fun with the song, but oh, that was like 90% of your part. Why are you doing this to us? Why, Kanye? Why? Um, but like, it is what it is. Obviously, like, it's not like Kanye West's gonna hear this, and like, I don't think he's gonna hear this ever. And if he did hear it, I don't think he'd be like, "Yo, you support me, you hate me." He'd think something like that. "Yo, you hate me, man. What are you talking about?" Like, I am just a 22-year-old trying to navigate music, and that's how I feel as an old time Kanye fan from maybe like 2000, let's say 2007, 2008, maybe 2009, something like that. But you didn't impress me, Kanye. I'm sorry. I'm not saying you don't do impressive stuff. You didn't impress me. And a lot of people feel this album was anti-Semitic, like Fantano believes that, so he couldn't really listen to it because there are some Jewish bars, and I understand they could be offensive to the ethnicity. I personally don't feel that way, but I'm not Jewish, so I can't say I'm not from that type of descent. But I'm sure, like maybe the bars themselves aren't so hurtful, but based on the comments that Kanye West gave, I can understand how it could be perceived as hurtful given the context. So I'm totally sympathetic towards that. So that's what I can say. But that's not a good look for him. I- I'm not going to say if it's a right or wrong thing to say. It's not my stance to take. But that, and then mindlessly just dropping an album, it's not so good. It's not a good look, Kanye. I'm sorry. Now, there's supposed to be a solo Y3, like Ye3, whatever album coming up. He denied it that that's gonna happen. I've seen some producers like verifying that it is gonna happen. And then on top of that, there's gonna be a Vultures part 2 and part 3. Now I'm gonna slide in Kanye's DMs. I'm gonna keep DMing him. Yo, Kanye, please put me on your put me on your album, bro. Please. I still wanna make history with you, even if you're gonna say big booty bitches just don't buy the sky. But I hope you don't have that low of a standard for yourself because you can do better than that. I don't have that low of a standard for you, and I'm sure a lot of your fans don't. Maybe Vultures Part 1 is just supposed to be like the warm up. Like we're just playing around. I feel like Ty Dolla Sign and like Kanye West, they have such a big following that they're like, yo, like we can drop whatever and people will like ride with it. Same thing with like Drake, I told you. I don't think Travis Scott does it as much, but I know he does it too. I feel like a lot of artists do it, man, to be honest. I don't want to be an artist like that. Like maybe you'll see this in a year or two and I would be an artist like that, but believe me, it's not my intention. However, we've seen French Montana in the studio gearing up and recording for what we'd call part 2. That's something to keep in mind. That Kanye West album is supposedly the solo, supposedly coming out. But I guess we'll leave that at that. All right, so like the last thing I want to talk about before I change the topic and like talk about myself, it's essentially a story about Ty Dolla Sign. So this was probably like 2014, 15. I was probably like 12, 13. And Ty Dolla Sign had a show at the Virgin Mod Club in Toronto. This is my first concert, proper concert that I went to. And with that, Lil Bibby was the opening act. And you guys might know Lil Bibby, Chicago artist. He's the one who handles Juice WRLD's posthumous album, RIP to Juice WRLD. And basically, he had a meet and greet. And with that meet and greet, my brother and I got to meet him. And we stayed for his opening act, but we left when Ty Dolla $ign was supposed to come. And a lot of people left. Ty Dolla $ign was arriving on stage. And I will say, I'll tell you something cool too. Lil Bibby, he retweeted my post that I posted on Twitter in like the 7th grade, which was around that time with him and I. But I will say that a lot of people didn't really feel stay for Ty Dolla $ign. So that was pretty crazy. I'm not gonna be someone who's like, oh, he makes some good mainstream songs, so I'm gonna like ride the wave. I've never been like that. I know he makes good music, but I don't actively search out his catalog. But I'm not a hater of him, but I could like in my head think like it may have been cool to stay for a show. I didn't know much about him back then either, but now I know a lot more about him, and just an afterthought, you know. Maybe it would have been nice to see a show. I don't have to be his #1 fan or anything, but maybe I could have became a fan. Anyways, this is basically part 2 of me talking about Kanye West and Drake, but now we added Ty Dolla $ign into the mix. And that's a little Bibby. But I mean, that's kind of what's going on musically in my brain anyways. So I just wanted to address my perspective and just like tell a little story too, because I mean it's relevant, so why not? The last thing that I want to do is I wanted to start getting into this as the show grew and like went on and I kind of like found my footing. So at the end of this episode, I'm gonna leave you a 30-second snippet of something that I've released recently. If you're interested, you can check it out. Artist name, I'm sure I've said before, is 47 Smoke on Spotify, Apple Music. I also promote my stuff on Instagram at 47 Smoke and TikTok. Also, it's not 47 Smoke though, it's 47 Yacht, which is my gaming account. Like I use the same name there. And then we got at 47 Smoke for my YouTube. So I do all the promos on those platforms. Sometimes it works, sometimes I don't. I've really recently dabbled into this content creation situation, and I'm just trying to make content, give some advice to creators, and it's been helping grow my page, like by views anyways, and occasionally by random likes. I haven't grown so many followers from it, but I think it's a slow and steady process, and I really want to just make fans because I don't want to just be a musician. That's just a really short-sighted goal, and that's maybe the biggest dream I have. But I also have the dream that I've always wanted to be some sort of like, I guess, life coach or advice giver, content creator. So I guess I'm finally deciding to tap into that because it's a new year, and I think it's about time that I start taking like my promotion more seriously. Because you can't be crying about results if you only post like once a week or something like that. That's just the truth. And if you're so confident with your art, which I am, you gotta like be annoying about it, man. I know I definitely feel, and I'm sure other artists feel this way too, that like, yo, it's so annoying that I'm promoting myself over and over again. You guys probably hate it, but you gotta be annoying. That's the only way people will even know who you are and take you seriously. And like, I'm so comfortable with being myself, and I'm sure a lot of other artists are too, but we're not comfortable like sharing our experiences or marketing ourselves, but we should be just as much as we're comfortable with being ourselves. So I think that's like the little bit of advice I'm giving you as a new content creator, I guess. And with all that stuff, like definitely just check out my song Cardio.
I gotta get ready, she black confetti. I blow my 20s, I'm all about Fetty. Gotta finish, she bust up the pennies. Yeah, probably get Zeddy, you can call me Zeddy. Got me Zaddy, I'm out of society. You're rich and you're right, yeah, loving the audio. Yeah, loving that audio, shit, loving the cardio.
So check out 47 Smoke. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned and stay blessed.